All right, guys. Episode 2 of the Rogue Treatment.
Let's go.
You excited?
Manuel, how are you, my friend?
Don't start.
How are you?
know what? I'm good.
That's good.
Are you we're episode 2 now, so this is gonna be, I guess, a bit different for us. Last episode we went through a little bit more about ourselves, why we wanted to do Rogue Treatment.
Yeah.
But now we're actually gonna start giving the Rogue Treatment to our favorite topics to talk about.
Can't wait. I've got a cracker one for you, man.
You got a good one?
I've got your favorite topic.
Oh no.
So for context, James doesn't actually know what's coming here, but he's gonna love this one. He's gonna love this one.
Well, either way, we're gonna go through health, sports, business.
Yeah.
Our 3 favorite things to talk about.
Awesome.
You've obviously come up with a doozy for me.
Can
you tell me which pillar it's in? Or do I just read it off your book? I can't really read your writing anyway.
Oh, no, exactly. No, it's in health.
What pillar
It's
is
in
it
health. It's in health.
It's in health?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It touches on a bit of business, of course, but yeah, definitely in health.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm keen.
All right. So let's give it the Rogue Treatment.
You want to get into it straight away?
Well, I'm keen. Are you keen?
I'm ready to go.
I know you've got time issues.
Let's not go there. You're the one with time anxiety.
He's got a iPad in front of him with just the time running.
Yeah, and my notes.
And no notes. And I've got 3 things written on my page. So let's dive in because we don't know where this is going. This is going to... Well, I know
this is
actually.
the excitement of the Rogue Treatment.
Yeah. And I know this is your most rogue topic.
Ooh.
I know you go most rogue in this topic.
Wait, we're talking about the good version of Rogue or Go Rogue?
No, go rogue.
Because remember, last
That's
time,
right.
when you gave the Rogue
I gave the definition, right?
That was very scary.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay. So am I going rogue on this
An
topic?
unprincipled person is rogue.
Oh,
but going rogue is, just like being, what is it? Taking a different path, living dangerously or something like that.
All right. So I'm going to go rogue.
You're going rogue. But don't be an unprincipled
topic.
person. Oh, that's
You're
right.
really covering it up here.
Yeah. All right. Now, James, I want to ask you a question.
Here we go.
Have you...
Shit, you've even gone close to the mic. Gone very serious. Do we scream loud to pop Simon's ears?
Poor Simon. Just trying to do his job. Now, got a cancellation after us, poor Bella. I hate that. Do you hate that? As a practitioner,
this is different.
When you're treating,
you just gone rogue.
And yeah, I am. And you get a cancellation.
Yeah.
And it's in the same day, and you've planned for that appointment. Is that the most annoying thing in your life?
Annoying.
Ruins my day. Ruins my day.
I know you get more upset than I do, but it does get annoying.
Yeah, I like to feel wanted, and they didn't want me.
They don't want you anymore.
They don't value coming to see me for that time. Yeah, they got another option.
Wow.
Yeah, doesn't happen often though. Luckily. Now, James, I'm sure you've been asked this question. We're going to dive into it now.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been asked this question before.
What pillar is this?
Health.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard before the whole work-life balance topic. And tell me, is it like work-life balance? It exists, right? Like you can balance work with life. Surely. No? Have you ever heard that from like your staff going, "Hey, I just want a better work-life balance,"
So we want to tackle this from a health perspective.
Absolutely.
Right?
Health.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're asking me if there's such thing as work-life balance?
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
No, there isn't. It's not physically
but
possible.
Everyone talks about it.
I know, and that's why it's not possible. And I think that's why it's a health problem.
Okay.
As opposed to a business problem. It's a health problem because...
You're going red, bro.
Oh, I'm going very red. Shut up,
I've
Harry.
never, as one of your staff members, I have never said that. Just clarify.
But it's not about...
No, maybe I have. Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe I should pull out my notebook. But you know what? It's not about whether or not a staff member says it. It's the connotation that comes with it.
That's right.
That's the frustrating part.
No, of course.
So why it's a health problem?
Yes,
right, is because
everyone talks about it.
Whatever
industry, like you talk to friends that socially, they're going, "Oh, I've got a better work-life balance now because I'm working from home."
But see that's the thing, right? it's what people are looking for now.
Yeah.
And they're looking for it for better, they call it better work-life balance, right?
Right.
But the reality is it's maybe better mental stability. Maybe it's got to do with how they spend their time in what they believe is work-life balance.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't believe there's such a thing as work-life balance.
Yeah.
Is because realistically...
You're a numbers guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. So okay, you want me to explain it from a numbers perspective?
That's how you usually dive into it.
Okay.
Surprised
I'll
you're
dive
going
into
this
it
right.
that way.
Look at him.
So
Head's gonna
So why there's no... So I believe that there's a way to enjoy your time outside of work that doesn't make work feel like a burden. I think I got to preface that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because that's where it starts from.
Yeah.
People are looking for work-life balance because work becomes a burden.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that it has nothing to do with anything else.
You've already lost then at that point, surely.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So then there's two ways to talk about work-life balance if you want to.
Yeah.
One, don't be in a job that burdens you because then you're not going to be seeking work-life balance. You only seek work-life balance because you hate work. And the second is to understand to value your time outside of work as opposed to wasting your time outside of work, because the reality is you can't create balance with work and life.
Do you think, like, I mean, people just also want just more time, more hours outside of work, even though they might not be actually doing anything with that time?
And that's completely fine. Then don't have a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, numbers-wise,
Yeah.
I'm egging you on here.
You are. You want the numbers.
But,
all right?
but like, it doesn't add up, right?
Yeah, because the whole preface of work-life balance is that you have the time to yourself.
Right.
You have time outside of your work hours to do things that you want to do, right? But the reality is that we get time poor and we then don't value the time outside of work hours.
Yeah.
So I'll dive into the numbers, right? And this is why I don't believe there's a balance. For there to be a
Here he
balance,
goes.
there has to be an even number on each side, right? Now, the reality is we have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
The average person sleeps 8 hours,
Yeah.
and we spend 8 hours at work. Now, some people might value sleeping as their balance. Like, that's okay. If you do, then you love life,
Yeah.
right? But that's the thing. I haven't even included eating time, right? So let's just do 8 hours of work.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So if you've got 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours work,
Yeah.
there's 2/3 of your day gone.
Yeah.
You literally physically are out of balance then, unless you value sleep as your life balance. Yeah. And not a lot of people do. And that's where the problem starts. Yeah. I'm not saying you should. So you've got 8 hours left, in your day, which then you mentioned eating. How long do we spend eating? An hour, 2 hours a day?
Yeah.
Eating across all the different aspects of eating time. All right. So there's another 2 hours gone. 6 hours left. We have to travel to work. Average person takes 45 minutes to an hour to get to work. So let's just take an hour and a half off.
Sydney traffic is...
Sydney traffic, forget about it. It's 2-3 hours. But let's
Tunnels,
take
it's all right.
on average an hour and a half off travel time.
Yeah.
Right. So we're down to 4.5 hours now of valuable time to you. Right. Let alone life chores, let alone if you've got to go pick up the kids, let alone if you've got to spend time, maybe doing stuff at home to for your family or things like that, which necessarily aren't life, when you're trying to balance work and life, they're chores. Yeah. So even if you want to add another hour to that, it's probably more. And that's where people get time poor. Right.
Yeah.
So you take away that, you now only got 2 to 3 hours to balance all the other shit that you do not want to be doing, and the biggest one of that is work.
Yeah.
And that's why I get G'd up about this topic is because it's physically not possible to balance those.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
The math doesn't
It
math.
just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 days off in the week, if that.
And you get 2 days off in the week.
But you work 5 days?
Exactly. That doesn't balance.
Where's
right?
the balance?
That doesn't balance.
Can I work 3 days and be off 4 days?
It still doesn't balance. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say with that is, right, we need to have that reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we can't have I said at the start that first of all, if work's not a burden, you're not going to be seeking work-life balance, right? But even if no one's job is perfect, no one's job is easy. We all have to earn money, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to love having to go to work every day.
No.
But then how you can balance that out is valuing that time that you have left, right? And I think that's what people miss. Maybe they don't value that time. Maybe they don't protect that time. Maybe they don't see that time as the time to balance out their work and their life.
Yeah.
Because the reality is it's not there actual balance. You can't work 8 hours a day and then spend 8 hours balancing out your life. Yeah. But you can if you do things that energize you in those 2 to 3, 4 hours, depending on your life schedule. If going to the gym energizes you, do that. If you need to go out and go for a walk, go down to the beach, do that. But then we get too time poor because of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're not protecting that time.
Yeah.
And then we don't balance out our life, and then everything else becomes a burden. Even chores become a burden. Even traveling becomes a burden. How many people do you see talk about Sydney traffic because it becomes a burden on them? Like, traffic is traffic. Yeah. If you just knew I've got to be in traffic for 2 hours a day and didn't see it as a burden, but like I'm driving to go to the beach. I'm driving to, go do whatever it is that I really want to do to enjoy my day.
Yeah.
You may not see it as a burden. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think you're spot on. Like, I think it obviously just doesn't add up. And I think if you're feeling that way, then that's when we need to make a change, right? Like,
Exactly.
Like if you, I got to drive to work, it takes me this long to get there, and then got to go to work, I got to see those people. Oh, it's Monday. I got to wait till Friday for like another couple of days to get my life back again.
Yeah.
Or like,
but that's the norm, right?
I know.
Like, how crazy is it that any workplace you go into,
like, thank fuck it's Friday. How many times have we heard that today?
That's so good. And then but then Monday comes, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Like, man, we knew you've been doing this for the past 15, 20 years or however long you've been in the workforce. Like, shit doesn't change.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, what would you prefer to do? Like, what, just split it up. Like, have, if you had a longer weekend, right? Would that fix it? Like, let's just say if we had a 4-day weekend every week.
4-day weekend.
3 days. Let's go
3-day weekend.
What if we did a 3-day weekend every week? And then, would that go, now I've got more balance, but it's still, and then would it just go, okay, now it's not balanced anymore. I still work more of the week than I don't.
Look, I don't know, to be honest, if there's
I know
a lot of studies out there. There's countries that are doing it, right? And they're testing it, and maybe it'd be interesting to look into that, right?
Yeah.
But my first instinct is that I don't think it matters how many days a week you have as a weekend. If you still hate going to work, then those 4 days are going to be a burden.
Yeah.
Like it's a cultural concept to live for the weekend.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand we have more time on the weekend. We don't, have the constraint of going to work and traveling and doing all our chores. I understand that it's a different premise on the weekend, right? But if you live for the weekend, I don't think it matters whether you have 3, 4, 5 days on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
You're still gonna have the Monday blues if you don't work out how to create some sort of what's the word? I don't want to call it because it's not a balance, right? But create some sort of work and life value.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
think the mindset has a big role to play here, right? Like,
100% it does.
I know when I was like, okay, I'm gonna start to. I've gone through a spell where I was like really enjoying my weekends and hanging out and maybe like partying and all that sort of stuff. And then I'd come to Monday, I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna wait the whole week, right? We've all been there.
We've all been there. That's normal.
Yeah. But I think the mindset of like that was just the case. Like that was just Monday-itis, Monday blues. Like that's just what it is, right?
I can't believe this is what you purposely hid this from me. But yes, let's go.
No. I think everyone goes through that spell, surely. And I think, flipping that mindset to like, I enjoy Mondays. Yeah. Like I'm looking forward to seeing my colleagues. I'm looking forward to seeing those clients, I'm looking forward to getting things done today, or moving me forward to make me better for the next day, the next week, or maybe it's preparing for like an event or whatever it might be. But it's like, okay, I'm actually going to like flip that and go, not dread that task or dread that day and dread that time that I'm going to be there, and think, all right, I'm just going to look at the clock and wait till whatever time it is and I can go home. And then I'm going to sit in traffic and then I'll be happy again. And then I'll be whinging that I have to go back to work again. But changing that whole mindset and going, right, no, I'm actually going to go get into work and I'm going to enjoy being there. I'm going to talk to everyone. I'm going to have, some like a bit of energy about myself, just like I would want to when I'm valuing my time, regardless if that's at work or at home.
Yeah. And you talked about obviously the process I think any person goes through, right? When you finish studying or when you go get your first full-time job, right? We do it mainly because we have to, right? I don't think a lot of people go into a full-time job going, I really want to do this. And I understand
I want to help people.
You're funny, man. You're funny. You just really want to G me up, hey?
That's right.
But
have you ever heard that before?
I have heard that so many times.
I want to help people.
Actually help people. But that's all right. But I think it's natural for people to, you finish studying, you finish whatever it is, you finish school and you go into work. And a full-time job is full on for some people. Right? For me, it was. Right?
I think
so.
For
then
everyone.
You do live for the weekend. You enjoy partying. You enjoy seeing your mates. You enjoy doing all that.
Right?
That's right. And then it's when like you're 5, 10, 15 years into your career. And you're probably not going to be doing those things you were doing when you were in your 20s, right? But then you're living for the weekend because you hate work. Like, it still doesn't work out, right? And I'm not saying that everyone's got to go do a job they love, and I'm not saying that you got to find your passion and all that kind of stuff. Like, you do you, right? But then there is a way to create some sort of value in your life that you then not having that burden of work. And that is what I think is missing.
Do you think when people now, since COVID, right, everyone worked out that they can actually do the same work at home, if not more, right? And now that's super competitive in that market, right? Like that's people look for jobs that they can do remotely now, right? Do you think then like that's just set a new bar though? Because then it's going to be like, oh, well, now I want to work.
Well, you're talking about right now or over the last 3 years?
Well, last few years it's changed, right?
Because it's changed dramatically. Like, so that was the expectation, but I think it's shifted. Like some of the biggest companies in the world are now expecting their staff to be back full time in the office. Now you can sit there and be like, oh, it's because, they don't want to pay for the real estate and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's probably multi facets to it. And, we're not a big multi-corp, we don't have a multinational business, and our type of business, we still needed to be,
we have to be there, right?
In there, right? Like we couldn't, I do not believe you can help people over a fucking screen. No. So like that's just my viewpoints. Telehealth is stupid. Let's not go there. We tried it. It doesn't work.
We had to. Wasn't that fun? But like,
but it didn't work. Like, let's be honest, right? So for our industry, it's a bit different. So I understand maybe in the business space where people are in offices, I understand that maybe became the norm. I don't know if it's been super productive. The people, the friends that I have that are in those industries, they did it because they had to, and now that they don't have to, they would probably prefer their staff in the office.
Depends who you're talking to, isn't it?
But that's the thing, that I know other people that said they've had the most productive staff ever by them, having that flexibility. So
it just comes back to the work-life balance, right? That doesn't exist. But it's that now that like people are saying, I want to work from home because I have a better work-life balance.
And but because are they doing the work?
Well, that's right. They might not be, and then they might be doing something else during the day.
Horror stories around that.
Doing other things during the day. But then I guess, if they're doing the work, and they're getting the job done. Doesn't matter.
And that's the thing, right? If you're a task-based operation, and your staff are doing the task in a timely manner, and smashing out the projects or operations that you're looking for, you would not even question it. You wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So I think in that aspect, it works well.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that improving work-life balance?
I don't know though. So that's the thing.
Because now you can pick up your kids instead of coming home at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but don't forget, like a lot of people could still do that. Like the only barrier was there was travel involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, like man, my mum would always leave work early and go pick us up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's always been a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she started earlier and left earlier and picked us up, or
Yeah.
you know, then went home, you know, after picking us up and did more work. Like that's the realities of what you need to do. Now, does it make it easier because you're at home? Yeah, of course it does. All right, but I don't think that creates a better work-life balance as such.
Yeah.
No one questioned my mum for her asking in a job, hey, can I leave at 3 to pick up my kids? They said, cool, if you're the best person for the job, we'll work around that. Just because you're at home now, or whether you work from home or not, I don't think that makes a difference, personally. I think it makes it easier for the individual, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know.
It's interesting. I think it definitely comes, like that mindset, you know, approach is, it definitely comes into it because, you know, feeling like you're, like you said, going to work and it's like a burden on you.
Yeah.
And those hours are like taking from your time.
Yeah.
That idea is just, that's not healthy, right?
Yeah. And I'd love to know, like, you know, especially over the last 3 years, right, where, you know, if you're in an office-based job, working from home is the norm. I reckon if you did a survey on work-life balance scores, whether you were happy about it, right, or not, like what was the overall feeling about it, right?
Yeah.
I reckon at the start, scores would be through the roof. Everyone was cheering that they could work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon 3 years down the track, if you had done the exact same questionnaire, the values would come down. Some people would still love it. Other people would still whinge because it comes back down to the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you find work a burden, no matter where it is or what it is, you're not going to find work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be whinging about your boss, you know, logging in going, are you logged on? You know what I mean? Like it's the same shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's remote or whether you're in person.
Yeah. And the counting hours, you know, like, I mean, you know, we see it a lot as well in business, and like people like want to be remunerated for the exact hours that they're working.
Yeah.
It's like, is that because that was taking out of my life for those hours? You know, is that?
Yeah, look, that's a whole other concept that I don't know. Look, I'm not for or against that, right?
Yeah.
But like I know of friends that have, you know, whether they're lawyers or whether they work in finance, right?
Yeah.
And their full-time job doesn't have a dictated number of hours per week. Like, you know, I've had mates that work in law that are still in the office at 7, 8 o'clock at night, take work home with them.
That's madness.
And whether or not maybe they have to, whether or not they want to,
but
I don't know.
They're doing that for their growth, right? So to better themselves in a better opportunity
maybe
or
not.
whatever, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, like, this comes back down to, and I like how you pick this as a health topic because it's purely mindset.
Yeah.
It's purely what you are trying to do with your life and how work fits into that.
And that's why, you know, going back to what we do, I mean, and Switch, like the business is it's one of our key principles that our staff enjoy coming to work, right?
You love coming
every
to work.
single day.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, we've got this new little sort of social club called the High Five Club. And have you heard about it?
I've heard about it.
It's happening. Mainly at the Maroubra Clinic, a little bit at Lankover here, but they call each other out if they haven't like high fived each other for that day. And it's not the high five; it's just trying to like bring a little bit of energy, like lift someone up if they're like feeling, you know, a bit tired that day or whatever. But it was just a way of like making them enjoy coming to work.
Yeah. And
if they enjoy it, then they're going to be more productive, right?
Yeah. And look, in my experience as well, you know, when it comes to, you know, every employee has a lifespan in a business, right? And I'm yet to see an employee's lifespan in our business that where they've left end because they were happy. Does that make sense? Maybe one. Maybe
That's
one
like,
or two.
That's
but
like in the transfer market in in sport, right?
not really.
You don't really stay
Unless
if
you're
you're
Real
happy.
Madrid, you just buy everyone. And
Yeah, unless you're happy to sit on the bench and
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe.
No, but
I don't
like,
know.
you know what I mean? Like, I think at some point in time, and not that everyone is always going to be happy 100%
Yeah.
of the time, right? But, the lifespan of an employee is purely down to whether they enjoy coming to work or not. And that's why it's big for us, because we're dealing with, clients who are in pain, clients that have, issues that need to be sorted. And if you're like a drag coming to work, how's that going to help that person that's paying you to help them?
I know. And what's the
that's
point?
terrible.
And what's the point? You've given up your 8 hours Monday to Friday
Yeah.
to be unhappy at work.
Yeah.
What's the point?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Definitely not balance.
Look, I think if we're gonna tie this up, there's no such thing as work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I will be happy for someone to come on the podcast and chat about it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
And again,
I've got a
it's
few
not-
names there. I think I can pick a few people that we could come and
And
chat
again,
with.
it's not that, I do believe you should value your time outside of work.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the average person works 8 hours a day.
If you valued it as much as your time outside of work as you did in work,
Yeah.
like where would that take you? And all time throughout the whole day, the
Yeah.
24 hours
How do you
won't feel like work,
How
right?
do you blend work and life as opposed to
Yeah.
balance work and life? Ooh.
Work-life blend.
I don't know if I like that, but
Yeah, I've heard that one before. Oh, okay. You were touching on employees, and this is bringing
Ooh,
us
so we're going to go into business now?
talking about
Wow.
business.
Okay, employees. What
James,
are you going to talk about there?
This market,
The current employee
the
market?
current employee market, it's
Okay.
difficult, right? And it's, as business owners, it's a real challenge. Like, you got to forecast when you might need someone. I guess, in terms of recruitment, like in our world, we've found that recently it's taken us up to 12 months to find staff.
I think that's for a lot of industries, not just us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, and then that also puts pressure on staff retention.
Yeah.
And once again, that feeds back to staff being happy, because that's the biggest retention strategy, right? Like if people are happy,
100%.
then they're not going to be unhappy to
Exactly.
leave, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, give them that work-life blend. But so is that shifting yet? Like, how long are we going to be dealing with this?
So do we think the employee market's going to shift?
Yeah.
So you want to give that the rogue treatment?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I think the norm, what's been accepted over the last 3 years, and I hear this a lot, right? And I think even like on the news is what they say, right? If you talk about the employee market, the news will say, oh, it's because of the migration problem. And, when we're talking about in Australia, right? And, because of COVID and we stopped bringing people, to migrate, and we stopped certain visas and all that kind of thing. And that's what's put the pressure on the employee market.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's the truth though,
yeah.
because other countries all across the world, everyone's having this same problem that we're having over here with hiring people.
Yeah.
So, and other countries maybe have bigger populations than they do in Australia. How are they having that problem as well? Maybe if you look at the US, like they have probably the biggest migration across any country in the world. How are people in the US having problems with hiring, and not getting enough people applying and taking 6 to 12 months to find someone as opposed to, maybe a month to 2 months in the past. So I think we've kind of been misled in Australia that it's a migration problem and those kind of things.
Generation.
Is it a generational problem?
Because
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. Like, the entitlement generation.
Ooh, you want to talk about that?
Like,
you reckon that impacts the employee market?
I do.
How?
Because then I think I just think that people are often looking for too much, I think. And then that means that then employers have to like adjust all the time.
Okay.
And yeah, it's it's trying to keep that entitlement like satisfied or happy, or like, you know, trying to pat that ego in a way of the employee without upsetting people. It's like, it's tough.
Interesting. I like this take. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go a little bit further on that. I didn't know you wanted to talk about that.
Well,
Okay,
I think
but
I think it's part of it. Like, we've got to work out what's happening with this market. I mean, why does it take us 6 to 12 months to find someone? Is it because you know, I mean, we talk about the population, but is it it's not just a generational thing, you know, with the entitlement? Is it just everywhere? Is it just COVID?
Numbers, so if you want to go generational, if you look at numbers, like during COVID, more people retired than normal. So then there's less people in the workforce.
Right.
Because if you were close to that retirement age, and because of what happened with COVID, you're probably like, I'll retire early.
Yeah.
You know, so I reckon more people retired, so there was less people in the workforce. I'm sure we can find some stats on that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I'm sure I've read that somewhere too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to put a pressure on the workplace, right? Or the being able to employ. But I think you know, if you go back to what you were saying with the, you know, so what that does is it then shifts it from who has maybe some benefit in the market, right? Any market's there's going to be where it leans towards the employee or the employer. So definitely the last 3 to 4 years, it's leaned towards the employee
For sure.
because there hasn't been enough people out there to pick, right?
Yeah.
That's why it takes longer. That's why, you know, when you have, like, I remember we used to put a job ad up, and within 2 to 3 days, we've had 15 to 20 applicants. You let that job ad run, and you've got, you know, maybe by the end of it, you've got 20 to 30 applicants over the course of you're looking to hire.
Yeah.
Now we put a job ad up, you know, we might get true applicants, I'm talking about, like people that legitimately can do the job. You get people from overseas that apply.
What are you talking about?
Flood the job board.
No,
but
I know,
you
I
know,
see it.
people that can actually are qualified and to do the job. What I mean is, like, can actually physically come here and do the job. You maybe only get 2 to 3 across the same time frame.
Yeah.
Right? If that, maybe 1 to 2.
Yeah.
So that
And then the
shifts
quality of
the
that is
market
gonna drop,
to
right?
the employee.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that. Yeah, it might, right? But it shifts the bargaining power to the employee.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's where you're talking about the entitlement side of
Well,
things.
we've had, like when we had an interview 8 years ago, whenever it was, and I was a student, and I was, you know, at the clinic in Maroubra, and he said, all right, we're going to have an interview. We've got a job, you know, opportunity. We sat down, and like, you just belted me with questions. All right. Belted.
Do you remember what questions I asked?
You asked why. What's your why? Why? Oh my gosh, leave me alone. Anyways, I felt violated. I felt violated. Felt violated. If only I was in the current market, I could have like pushed you back a bit. But I wanted to work. I liked what I'd seen as a student. I wanted to be a part of the growth. I wanted to be a part of the ambition and all that sort of thing. I wanted to take that pathway. So it was the opportunity that I was like trying to present myself best I can in that interview.
Yeah.
And then when we ended up getting to the contract part, it's like, yeah, this and this and this, and oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, okay, where do I sign? And you're like, oh yeah, and by the way, do you want to know your salary? Like it's this. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to prove to you that I'm worth that and more. Now we have staff coming, I mean, potential new staff or candidates come into the interview and they say, okay, even sometimes in the phone screen, you know, I'm looking for this much money. Are we still talking? Or like, you know, they're interviewing us almost. We're like, oh God, you know, but then we haven't got many candidates to like, you know, compare that to. So then we're sort of tired.
Yeah.
So then,
look, I
we
guess
can come across
3-4 years ago, if someone did that, they opened, you know, the interviews with, "Hey, I want this much money," and I don't even, you know,
I want this much money. I want this condition. I don't want to work nights. Don't want to be at work mornings.
Yeah.
You know, I want an hour lunch break and Fridays. Yeah, I don't work Fridays. You all good with that? Yeah. Okay, cool. Can we get on with the interview?
That comes back to what we were talking about earlier with, I guess, the impact of COVID and how the work landscape changed. So again, you know, for us it's a little different. And I think, you know, health practitioners or anyone that still needed to go to do, into the role, go into a bricks and mortar place to do their role. Whether, it didn't just have to be health practitioners, tradies and all those guys that still have to go. Not everyone can just sit at home and work. When you're doing those kind of service-based jobs, I guess, you're looking at maybe a friend or a family member that is sitting at home, and it's a very different outlook.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that impact our service-based industries.
For sure.
Maybe not so much.
It feeds into entitlement. Surely.
Yeah, but you've got to realize what you're walking into, though.
Like, I think, yeah. But the entitlement is growing because they know that there's other people have got, maybe they see it on social media, they've got this lifestyle, they've got this work-life balance that I'm not going to get in the service industry, and I want compensation for that.
Yeah.
And maybe they know, I think they know that it's an employer's market, so they're willing to, take that chance with pushing the buttons of the employer. Yeah.
Look, I just had a thought, right? And we probably you and I have never really talked about it like this, right? But
feed me.
The best way to talk about it is it's the whole notion of capitalism.
Yeah.
Right? Capitalism has the marketplace that works and balances out in the end, right? Sometimes we swing too far one way, we swing too far the other way, but the market will dictate what's right.
Right.
Yeah. And what you're talking about is probably we've swung from, I talked about how the benefit of the employee market can sometimes be with the employee or the employer.
Yeah.
Right. And in the past, it's maybe been with the employer. We've definitely swung to the benefit being the employee because of all those things you just talked about.
Yeah.
Right? How there may be that notion. It might be because of the type of work. It might be all that, right?
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily have to flip back to being an employer benefit. But the market's going to dictate itself to balance itself out. And I think we're starting to see that.
Oh, please. Well, yeah, we have. We've actually seen that even this week. We've seen that change.
People that we've interviewed recently, I think it's very, very different, right? Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's there. Yeah. But that's the whole notion of capitalism, right? Before you were talking about, having to work for your keep.
Yeah.
The people on social media that portray a certain lifestyle,
even though it's not their lifestyle, but
that's the thing, right?
But
it balances, goes from one way to the other. You can go from one extreme to the other, but what dictates is the balance of that. Yeah. So you could portray that you've got all this shit on social media and you've got the best lifestyle in the world, and then you don't see them post for 6 to 12 months. And, what I mean? Of course. Everything will find a way of balancing itself out.
Of course.
And I think it's interesting because, when you look at that as whether it be an employee market, whether it be, what you do for work or anything like that, we live in a capitalist world, whether we like it or not. We talked about a 4-day work week. That's doesn't mean that it's going to work or not going to work, but the market would dictate whether it will. If we do a 4-day work week, if it works, then that works.
That's it.
If it doesn't, then it's going to shift to something else until you find the right balance. I'm not saying a 5-day work week is the right balance.
Watch out, here we go.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know, right? But at the end of the day, right?
It comes back to the market, right?
It comes back to the market.
Yeah.
The reason why we work is because we need to earn money. In whatever role it is, the amount of money that we earn dictates our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no other way about it. There's different ways to earn money. There's different ways to increase your value, to earn more money, all those kind of things. But that is what's going to dictate whether or not we earn more money to live a certain lifestyle.
Yeah,
that's capitalism. That's the market, right? And if you don't, you can bluff it. People have bluffed it over the last 3 years, and they've asked for things that maybe were worth more than what the employee knew was happening, right? But then it's going to shift the other way when they were like, "Hang on a second, I thought you were doing this, and this.
Yeah,
you promised you were going to deliver on these kind of things, and now you're not. So now I, as an employer, I have to make that decision." But all the employee has to do is hold up that end of the bargain, and you're then worth more. You then can demand more. Does it make sense?
For sure. And then don't you think it's like gone through the generations then? Because you talk about like money, right?
You're stuck on this, right?
I am. No, not at all.
I'm joking.
In terms of the money thing, like I think, now like we talk about the employee market and like how, with inflation and things like that, everything's been a little bit more expensive. These employees are now staying at home longer. Like, I mean, a lot of the people are applying for roles will be like, oh, like you're not expecting that person, even though they're going for a full-time job, to be actually living out of home, right? So like,
yeah, look, that has the economy's definitely had that kind of impact.
Yeah. But the generation before us and the generation before them, they were the ones, maybe if you're in Sydney, they were the ones that maybe they were migrants, they came out with nothing, and then they laid some foundations, and the ones underneath that maybe bought some property that did well, and then maybe 2 generations now, that's where we're seeing that real entitlement come in, where it's, well, like my family has the money, like, and now so I'm expecting this. I've always had this. Yeah. And
that's an interesting take. Like I honestly hadn't thought of it like that.
So you either give it to me, or it's okay. Like because my family will bail me out in a way, because that's my expectation from my.
That's an interesting take. Look, honestly, I hadn't thought of it like that, and I guess maybe
because they'll stuff it up for the next generation, who'll then have to go start, building their own houses again.
But it comes back to that's the beauty of having one extreme to the other. Yeah, you may come from a wealthy family that can bail you out, but there's maybe to an extent that's going to happen. Yeah. Does that, then what happens when it goes the other direction? Are you going to be the one to dig yourself out of that?
Well, that's right.
And make something out of your life. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting take. And I guess maybe that's what you mean by the generational change.
Yeah, for sure.
There's more entitlement to, well, this is my level of lifestyle. This is my level of expectation.
Yeah.
And maybe the money you're offering, the money you're offering doesn't match that. The role you're offering doesn't align with me. You know what? I haven't thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Look, and as owners, you sort of have to adapt, right? Because there's also owners from previous generations that have gone, no, this is how you do it. Like you turn up to work, you listen to me. I'm allowed to swear at you. I'm allowed to do it this. I'm allowed to treat you like this, and you do the job. And then I'll pay you on Friday.
You can't do that these days.
And now you can't.
You can't. Yeah.
But I guess like that's also been a big challenge to business owners to actually then be able to adapt and go, I can't treat them like I used to, because if I only have 1-2 candidates, I can't put the pressure on them like you did to me, because I might just go into Michelle, and then go as a potential employee, I might go into Michelle and go, no, like you're too much for me. I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm offended, maybe, I don't know. And then you've lost that candidate.
Well, that's right, and I think
then that's going to be detrimental to your business, So,
and I think
adapting to that market is definitely a challenge,
that's
right?
Part of the changing employee landscape, right? And look, not that that's how we want to. I definitely have worked in businesses before, but lots of different businesses. I remember working in restaurants and just like being screamed at like the whole freaking time, whether it be by the owner, by the chef, or whatever. But that was expected in that industry, right?
Yeah. You should have seen a job site.
I've never worked on a job site, right? Yeah. But I'm sure it would have been very similar. Yeah. But that was, like you said, that was the generational norm. Yeah. Maybe we accepted that, or we really couldn't say anything about that, right? If you wanted a job,
that's right.
You just accepted it.
That's right.
And I don't think we could do that now. No. Absolutely not. And it's not about whether we can or can't. Like it's just then you have to then adapt to that. Yeah. But then it does shift the employee landscape.
But then, you adapt, and then it just goes further in that direction.
Yeah, but I think you got to have you're right. Sometimes you can adapt too much, but I think you got to draw a line in the sand.
Or do you just go, right, that's it, I'm going to be tough now because that's how I want to be, and then
I don't think I'll work in this day and age. I don't think it will work. No, not that it will fall apart. Like if you want to get the most out of someone, you can't do it that way.
Nah, of course. It's trying to find what makes people tick, right? And like,
that's why I kept asking you why. You having to go at me for it.
It's in my nightmares. No, it's because I wanted the job. Like, so that's what,
Yeah, well, touching on that, right? That's how maybe I look at it, right? For me, it's, well, I'm not going to sit
If
there
we
and
did that
scream and
same
shout at people,
yeah.
right? So for me, I need to know what makes them tick,
Yeah.
so that it works in mutual benefit for both of us.
Yeah, but it's not frustrating at all, is it?
To try and find their why.
Yeah, no.
For me, no. For you,
no,
yes.
No. I'm saying having to adapt is. Are you sort of like sometimes think, hey, listen, I've been doing this, and there's people who've been doing it longer than yourself. Like, I've been doing this for 20 odd years. This is how I've always done it. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But
and now
that's on them, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that comes back to the swinging marketplace that we talked about. It goes from one extreme to the other. Now, I'm not saying that we're on the other extreme just yet, but like before, the employer could do whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
Now they can't. So it's how do you adapt to that?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying what they did was right? Yeah. But right now, the way I would prefer that and I like this, right? We now need to create a mutual benefit between both people. That's why I like to find out what's going to make that person tick. If I know what makes them tick and it aligns with the direction we're going, then let's do it together.
Let's rock and roll, yeah.
Now, if we're going in this direction and what's going to make them tick goes in that direction, it's not going to work. And then it comes back to enjoy coming to work, the whole work-life blending. Yeah. You're not going to enjoy what we're doing. Yeah. It goes against your principles, your values, what you want to do. Yeah. And that's going to be detrimental to the business. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean that they're bad. And it doesn't mean that we're bad. That's where I think people go wrong. They then blame the employer because the employer wants to go in this direction. Yeah. No, it's not the employer's fault, right? Somewhere along the line, the employer and employee made the wrong decision to go on that path. So stop blaming each other. Yeah. And then, cool,
but then I question you. So, like, what if that employee it changes sort of direction, and maybe they were just telling you what you wanted to hear in that interview,
that's on
right?
Them.
Yeah, but now they're in the business, they're in the role, whatever, and you're like, okay, right. We're on a different alignment here. You're going in that direction. The business is going this direction, but the
business should have been going in that direction from the start.
Yeah. It's not aligning.
It's the business's fault if they change and then expect everyone to come with them.
Okay. So yeah, that's fine. So the employee is like, now you've realized the employee is not in the same direction as you, right? But now here's the problem with your employee market. Shit, I can't replace that person for 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, look, that's the problem.
Am I just going to have to cop the...
That's why a lot of businesses are really struggling.
Cop the lack of performance here and try and get the best out of the staff member until I can find someone, maybe.
Excuse me. If the business is on the same direction, right, and that employee is still in that business, there's certain standards and expectations and values that the business, lives by, and that the employee should still match. Yeah. If the business continues with that person and the employee continues with that business, then the best thing to do is for everyone to still try and be on the same path.
Yeah. And that's so evident in sort of our approach. I'm not saying we've got it perfect at all. No, and we're still working on that. But we've always hired on not their skills so much. It's more about who they are. And do they align?
But any business should be.
Do they align with what we do?
We
can teach them skills, right?
You employ the person because the person is what helps grow your business.
Yeah. So say someone comes in with all the skills, right? Someone comes in with all skills, amazing. Let's just call it amazing exercise physiologist, right? Yeah. And then but they're just not the right fit.
Then don't employ them.
Yeah, but then the other way around, perfect fit. Like. The energy and whatever, complete fit into the team. Yeah, culturally that is the person we need. But their skills are just like
so long as the skills can be taught and learned. I think it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah,
if
that's
the skills can't be taught and learned, then you're making the wrong choice.
Yeah, because if that's right. Like I guess if they're against, they're not open to learning. They're stuck in the ways. Not going to work.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, comes back to the entitlement.
What if they're not on that entitlement side of things?
Now, look, I mean, it's definitely played a role, and I don't think it's just a generational thing. I think it's just played. It's sort of had a ripple effect in across all generations as well. It's not. The candidates from this age group to this age group are all going to be, thinking one way. I think it's also now rippled out into let you know.
Yeah, and you had an interesting take on that I hadn't thought about before. So maybe
Have some of that.
Yeah.
Cop
Wow.
that.
Look at you go.
Have some rogue on that, mate.
Excuse me.
Are you coughing every
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need some water. I've been talking too much.
Yeah, that's right. I do apologise again.
Who are you apologising to?
Just the listeners, you know.
The listeners.
Just to listen to you.
We've got one more topic to talk
But
about before we wrap it up.
Wait, what do you want to talk about?
Well,
yeah,
I want
don't
to talk
know.
about some sport.
Hold on a second. That's not on my page.
Huh?
Wait, what do you want? Talk to me about your... yes, you came up with a sport topic
I really
for
want
today.
to talk about this topic.
Yes.
So in England, who had a more successful season, the 2023-2024 season? Right? So, obviously, Man City won the Premier League, so I'm not going to ask about them. This is a topic to discuss.
Forget it. It's clear and obvious.
No. Hang on. Let me ask the question first. Before you answer, let me ask the question.
Okay.
Who had a more successful season out of these three teams?
Oh.
Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United.
Oh, you didn't say
Who had a more successful
That's easy.
season?
That's easy.
Who?
Well, Arsenal didn't win anything.
Cool. We agree on that.
Very.
Good job. We agree on that. Arsenal's out.
Sorry, Gunners.
But
they should have won,
but
by
hang
the
on,
way.
hang on. So let's
I feel sorry for Arsenal.
I'll answer and then I'll explain why I believe that as well.
Whoa, okay. You've been thinking about this.
100% I've been thinking about it.
Well, out of completely non-biased opinion,
Yes.
I'm going to stay completely on the neutral here.
And I know what you're going to say, and it's a stupid fucking answer, but go.
Qualifying for the Champions League is pivotal.
Okay.
Pivotal? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's get your English right.
Yeah, I'm struggling now. So that's success in a way. Yeah.
Okay.
Expectation met. Okay. So tick, right? I'm talking Liverpool here. Manchester United didn't make Champions League.
Thanks.
So Arsenal made Champions League. Fantastic. Good on them. I do think Arsenal are going to struggle again next year because of they've come second 2 years in a row, and that's got to freaking hurt, man.
100%. Well,
the hangover from that, when you got your...
They dropped off the next season.
you've got your best years and you don't win it.
Yeah.
Liverpool did it too, yeah.
And they
Get to
dropped
90
off.
plus points, you still don't win the
It's
Premier
hard.
League. It's unbelievable. So yes, back to a non-biased opinion. Liverpool winning the League Cup and finishing third,
man.
and being top of the Premier League.
Man.
Top of the Premier League for the most amount of time throughout the season.
What? No one's going to remember that.
Not questioning the manager one bit. Complete trust, faith in the system and
We're talking about success. So now so this is why
That's
I asked
successful
that
season.
question.
Well, how could it be?
Success is determined by the trophies that you win.
See, this is where...
So qualifying for the Champions League is part of the job. That makes it a good season. That makes it a way in which you talked about objectives. Yeah, I'm with you. But success is trophies.
Yeah,
Arsenal didn't win a trophy. Liverpool won a shit trophy. Man United won the FA Cup.
What? So
Man
you just
United
gave up
had
the
a
League
more
Cup?
successful season.
You just gave up the League
No,
Cup?
they didn't win it.
Yeah, but
we're
Man
talking
United
about
win.
success.
Manchester United win that competition as well.
Yeah.
And they didn't win it.
So what?
So you can't
Neither
say it's a
did Man
shit.
City or,
you still can't. You can't say it's a shit trophy.
We're talking about at the end of the day.
Yes,
if the season's
successful.
finished.
All right, so 1-1.
What is success?
Trophies 1-1. Manchester
but
United.
one
Liverpool.
trophy is better than the other.
It's not. You were in the
There
same
is more
competitions.
prestige.
How far did you get in the League Cup?
Does the League Cup give you a Euro qualification place?
We don't need it.
But it doesn't matter.
That's what happens when you come third.
It doesn't matter.
And you guys struggle.
Because you're talking about objectives. Now, that's what I was saying.
You're talking about objectives.
The objective. Now, if you talk about who had a better season,
okay, look.
Arsenal had the best season. They came
FA
second.
Cup,
They
most
just
decorated
missed
cup
out.
in the world, right?
Exactly.
Outside the FFA Cup from Australia.
Hey, that's a cool cup.
No, it is. It is. No, look, it is.
It's not called the FFA Cup anymore, by the way.
Oh, Australian Cup?
It's called Australia Cup.
Yeah. What is it called? Warringah Cup?
I don't know.
Or
But
something else.
anyway,
Anyway.
let's move
Okay,
on.
yeah, but look, FA Cup, huge, massive. I get that. Big win. Well done.
So
but
that's success.
That's success, yeah. Liverpool also won a trophy, so that's success. So it's one each, and then Liverpool qualified for the Champions League. And
But that's
where
not success.
success is
an
preparing for
objective.
the next season, and we are more prepared. You'd have to say, you guys are questioning your
You're
managerial...
talking about next season now.
Yeah, but That's off the
That season has
because
to be
of the reflection of this
I
season.
said for 2023-2024 season.
Yeah, reflecting on that season, Liverpool have the better setup going into the next season. Reflecting on the 23-24
I'm not
season.
disputing that, actually.
Okay,
You're
so then that's
probably
more success then.
But we don't know the manager if he's any good.
But that's more success then.
No, it's not.
We know
Success
your current manager
is-
needs to.
Hey.
He's
listen.
like you after a 3-day fast. His head's going to blow up.
Listen, you cannot. No, but
I'll
I
get
don't
other-
think that's fair though, because if you look at his record, he's won more games in his first two
It's
seasons.
not acceptable to finish outside of the
Guardiola or
top
Klopp.
4 for Manchester United.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Hang
So
on.
that's
I'm with you. We're
unsuccessful.
we're talking about objectives now. Did United reach their objectives? No.
Good.
Did they do well this season? No. But were they successful? They
No.
won the FA Cup.
Yeah, in some realm, yeah, they were successful, but over a whole season, no.
Oh, but no one's going to care about that. We're in the history
Listen.
books. United have an
We're
FA
just not
Cup.
going to agree on this one.
I know we're not going to agree on this, and I
You
knew that's why I picked this
Fucking
topic.
chose this topic. Listen, I've got to go through something before we wrap this up.
Oh, this is what we're going to do at the end of every podcast, right?
We are.
I like it.
And
Did you
off the
bring a
back,
hat this time?
I forgot the hat. Off the back of the...
Come on, man.
No, that's twice in a row. I forgot the hat. So we're just gonna
So it's just going to become the norm. You're going to pull out.
we're gonna just go with it now. Now it's gonna be called the shoey.
Man.
All right.
All right,
The shoey challenge.
For some context, right?
Yeah.
You forgot the hat, but the whole idea was that at the end of every podcast, we're going to pull out of the shoe.
I need to clean the shoe too. You know,
Just put the shoe on the table. Please don't do that.
it's clean. It's clean.
Please don't do that. So,
I could have worn better shoes
Far out.
today.
so what we're going to do, the idea was to pull it out of a hat.
Okay.
We're going to ask our listeners you can pop it in the comment section below or send us a DM or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We want you to put in to the shoe. It was supposed to be put into the hat.
It's into the shoe now.
Anyone in
going
particular
rogue.
that you want a challenge. It's a challenge. So this is the challenge shoe.
Yeah, the challenge shoe.
The challenge shoe is supposed to
Yeah.
be the challenge hat, where it puts a challenge to us on maybe someone we want to interview or a topic you want us to discuss. So far, because this is a new podcast, we haven't had our listeners do this yet. We asked our team to put some ideas in there. So there's a few ideas in there, some challenges for us to go out and do after this podcast for the next one. So
What do you think's in it?
I don't know.
You know what our team's like. You know what? I'm not worried about what. I'm just worried about which one we're going to pick out from where it's come from. You know what I mean? There's some people in a part of our team that.
Let's just pick it. Just rip the band-aid off.
What are they gonna?
What is it?
I'll pick it out.
I just don't know why it's still a freaking shoe.
I'll get right to the bottom, mate. A bit sweaty in there, Harry. Here we go.
You nervous today?
Just in the feet. All right, here we go. Oh,
You know, can I
God.
just say, we did a shoe last time because you forgot the hat.
Yeah, well, then I just gone with it, okay? Now,
Okay, I
I've
don't
ripped it out
necessarily
here.
like the idea of the shoe. It's on a whole freaking piece of paper.
Someone put a whole piece of paper
Can
in
someone
here.
just do
I just
little
picked the
strips next time?
bigger one, yeah. That's all right. Okay, whoever this is has written, I'm interested in trail running. Give a trail athlete the rogue treatment, please.
Ooh,
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
we know. Well,
We know a few
We
trail
know
athletes.
you treat.
I
a
know.
Trail, what would we call Stephen athlete?
Oh, shout out to Steve Ludakis. He'll like that.
That's why
they
I
got
said it. But at the same time, he's probably
I
going to
hear
kill
they-
me for asking.
Have they
if
got
he's
a
an athlete.
statue out the front yet? I'm not sure. In Maroubra, somewhere outside.
In Maroubra, yeah, he's the local celebrity.
Maroubra Switch or 6X. Shout out to the 555 Club.
Oh, stop.
Okay.
Okay,
look.
so what we do?
We've
know-
got that. We've got a few athletes we know that we
Okay.
couldn't interview. I know.
Can't believe you put the piece of paper back in your shoe.
I don't know why I did that.
Please, enough with the shoe.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a few people. I've got some names coming to my head there.
That's what we
Steve's
need to
obviously
do
one.
between now and the next podcast is line up a trail, like ultra marathon runner.
Yeah.
Is that different?
Yeah. No, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go ultra.
Someone
Yeah.
who's done an ultra.
You have to be able to have done it, surely.
Okay.
And obviously whoever this was that gave us the comment, they want to get into trail running. So like
Okay. So
Let's
we'll give
do it.
that the rogue treatment.
Let's do it.
All right.
One second.
Hang on. If it's not Steve, he's going to get the shits now.
I'll ask him, but he won't think I'm serious. And then I tell you what, he'll be great for a podcast. But if not, maybe we go
Why
to
don't we
one
get an
higher than
actual
him.
athlete?
Yeah, we'll go one. I know exactly. One
And we'll
higher
get
than
him
him.
as well.
His coach,
Okay.
Liam McKenzie. If we can get him on
Well,
the
hang on. Now you've put a name out there. If you don't get him, we're going to not achieve this challenge.
Oh, okay.
So you
okay.
should've
I'll
done
try my best. But yeah, if we can get him, he's amazing too. But there's a lot of guys out there we can definitely in our circle that we can talk to.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, cool.
I've never done a trail run, so I'd be interested.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's different. They wear different
You've
shoes.
done a trail run?
Maroubra to Malabar headland run.
Running across Maroubra to Malabar is not a trail.
Shout
run.
out to the 555 club.
Oh,
before
the
the
plunge.
before the boardwalk was in,
Yeah.
it used to be trail. In fact, Steve and I
can't
remember
count
this.
that.
So we went through that run one time, and it was pitch black dark, right? And
Who fell?
no, I stubbed my toe so bad,
I
so bad.
remember this. You
And-
broke your toe.
Yeah, I kept going like a true athlete, I wanted to stop so I just kept going. Anyways, I got to the end. We jumped in the water. Took my, I got back out, dried my toes. I was like, "Oh mate, my toe is blown up. It was like as big as this microphone." Steve was like laughing his head off. Yeah, it was broken.
Okay.
So that ended that. Then they put the boardwalk in, and it was fine. But yeah, it's definitely different running,
All right.
different shoes,
be-
different mechanics.
All right. You really have to deliver on this now.
Yeah.
You know that you
They
put
just
that
did
out
one. There
there.
was a UTA 50 and 100 in
Did you say UTI?
UTA.
Oh. Sorry.
That's rogue.
I heard UTI.
I think that comes to the anyway. In Blue Mountains. That was a couple of weeks ago.
That's right. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Steve didn't win, so maybe we'll go for the winner.
But he's the Spartan.
Yeah.
Australia
He'll
champion.
Correct.
Yeah. Is he, wait, did he win this year?
I'm not sure if he's
All right.
number one, but he's up there. He's up there.
Maybe we've got to get him in too.
He's he's a legend.
That's a challenge
All right,
for you.
awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. That's episode 2 of the Rogue treatment.
Wow, there
Nice
you go.
H.
2 episodes done.
2 episodes done. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, man.